Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Thursday, January 15th. This is episode number 330. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Joining me today is my brother, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Going good, Rod. We're getting buried by snow again, but other than that, not a big deal.
Yeah, we had a dusting down here and frigid temps. I woke up to, I think it was 8 degrees with a wind chill. So always nice.
Yeah.
Nice when you got to put the trash out and stop for gas. Extra special warning this morning. So yeah,
right.
Appreciate that. So we are part of the Fanatical Elves Network, and appreciate everybody joining us tonight. If you haven't already, check us out on YouTube and on Facebook, and of course, I hope you're checking us out on X and every place else. So, and not only our show, but everybody else within the network. A lot of guys put a lot of work into this and prepping for their show. So make sure you check out the content everybody's putting out. So Jeff, let's we got a little bit of news, and we're going to talk coaching stuff, and we're going to take a look at the defense tonight. But before we do all that, we're actually both drinking something tonight. So we're gonna do a Blitz beverages segment, and I'm just not real good at getting in these banners yet on their new setup, but there it is. All right. So what are you drinking tonight, Jeff?
Well, I talked about it before. I just have a Blue Moon NA that I kind of got hooked on when I was on vacation. I thought it was appropriate tonight because Jimmy Haslam gives us a winner once every blue moon. So that's what I've got.
Nice tie-in. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I guess kind of a segue, tie-in, whatever you want to call that. So let's see. One of the kids got me one of those build your own 6-packs for Christmas. So this was one of the beers in there. I've had this before. It's really good. It's the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel. This is a Kentucky Vanilla Barrel Cream Ale. So got a really nice vanilla flavor to it. Very easy drinking. So thought I'd take a break from the Christmas beers.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But yeah, probably time to turn the corner on those for a little bit, at least on the show.
Yeah,
I've got enough left. I'll probably still be drinking some, but probably not on the show anymore. So
yeah. All right. Well, cheers to there's always next year.
Always next year for Christmas beers and the Browns.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, Jeff. So let's do just an abbreviated news section here before we dive into our stuff. I mean, the only two news things are not directly related to the Browns, but they kind of are, and that's John Harbaugh apparently taking the job in New York. So that's just going to, I guess, probably get things moving with coaches landing jobs. I have no idea who's going to be, where the next chip's going to fall.
Right.
It still could be a while with teams still in the, playoffs and the postseason still going on for several weeks. But, I mean, if you look at the coaches who are being requested, I guess it depends how long some of these teams go. I mean, a lot of people want to talk to the coordinators for the Rams. I'm trying to think of which other teams are. I guess the Seahawks too.
Right.
I don't know who else. I've seen the Texans. I guess Vance Joseph of the Broncos, Robert Saleh. There's some guys out there that could take a while to become available for interviews. So, and things still may not happen for quite a while, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, unless you're in a hurry,
unless you find your guy, unless you're just
if
you don't want to let a guy out of the building.
Yeah, if you feel really good about somebody and you want to kind of skip ahead, sure. But I think most of the teams this time around are taking their time and talking to a ton of people. I mean, Jesus, the Titans are talking to everybody with a pulse right now. Um, most teams are talking to
Well,
10 guys. So, yeah, it's probably going to take a little while to shake out.
well, how many guys have the Titans talked to? Because the Browns are on their Browns already talked to six guys. What, 5, 6 guys, and they got
Yeah,
2 more
yeah.
coming up.
I think the Titans have close to 20 guys that they want to talk to, have
Oh my
or are
gosh!
planning to talk to. Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Have they
yeah.
called you yet?
No. I'm still waiting for my phone to ring.
All right. Yeah.
But yeah, there's I think there's quite a few candidates that are only slightly more experienced than me. So
Feels like it. Yeah, we'll get into that in just a minute here. So yeah, so I mean that's interesting that Harbaugh interviewed two or three spots, and I guess I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about him. He's getting his bag.
right.
And I don't know if
But
that's really the goal.
With him, you had to look at what the situation was going to be. The idea that we could get him here this year was never going to happen.
No, it wasn't.
And I'll tell you why, because Andrew Berry wasn't going anywhere this year. Now, next year, it might be a totally different story. But for right now, we're not looking at a CEO type of head coach. Just because that guy's not going to have any say in the roster. So for Harbaugh, that excluded him right away as far as I was concerned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think he had a phone call with the Browns and kind of probably asked about control and stuff, and they said, "No, you're not going to get that." And he said, "Okay, see ya."
Yeah.
So we got it down to the
few
teams that would give that to
me
him.
Is right. Yeah. For me, the bigger concern is that it sounds like he's going to take Todd Monken with him to New York. So, and I kind of felt like he was a good candidate for us based on our needs. So he's off the table. Off the table as well.
Yeah. We'll get right back to the coaching stuff. I probably should have started with the other news bit, and then we could have launched right from Jim Harbaugh into the coaching stuff, Jeff. But the other thing was Dante Moore deciding to go back to school, which I guess I really just wanted to get your thoughts on that because I think a lot of people have strong thoughts one way or the other. I guess whether it's a good decision or not a good decision, but in the end, it's his decision, right? So
sure,
But I mean, here's a guy who probably would have been the number 2 pick in the draft, even though the draft is still several months away. I don't know. What do you think? Did this surprise you? And do you think it's a good decision?
It surprised me a little bit from the standpoint, like you said, that he was really slotted in to go to the Jets at number 2 and would have been very well compensated for that. I mean, he's going to be pretty well compensated to stay in school. I heard that Ty Simpson was offered like $6 million to stay in school and go to Miami next year. So with everything that's going on in college football now, I think the lure of coming to the NFL isn't nearly what it once was. And, we're seeing a lot more underclassmen elect to stay in school longer as a result, which has a huge impact on teams trying to plan. Has a big impact on where you can find guys. And I think it also is going to have a huge impact on this mythical idea of age guardrails because young guys just aren't coming out anymore. So you're getting guys who are 23, 24 years old who have played 4, 5, 6 years of college football. And that's, it's making up a bigger portion of the draft now. So a lot of guys are going to have to adjust. But getting back to Dante Moore, I think I texted you during the Oregon-Indiana game, just watching him play, that I kind of felt like he needed another year. facing that level of competition, that it was going to be tough for him to go to the NFL and save a franchise like the Jets. So, considering that it was the Jets, I think it was probably a good move for him.
Good move for him, yeah. I guess there's two ways to look at it. There's the part about his game and what's really smart about him developing as a quarterback, in college and the NFL. And in that sense, what he's doing has to be the best decision. But then there's the money decision.
Yeah.
Do you go now when you're almost guaranteed to be the second pick in the draft and cash in your lottery ticket, or do you take a chance on going back to school and maybe next year doesn't go like you think it's going to go, and you don't get as
well? Yeah,
much,
case in point, Drew Aller.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it can happen. So you're standing there with a lottery ticket, and you're like, I think I can do better by playing another year. Well, you're not going to do a lot better in the draft, but you can do a lot better for your NFL career if you have faith in yourself to be able to, play in the NFL for a while.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you might have a better chance of being a successful quarterback if you're more prepared. You've played more college games, right? As far as the landing spot, I guess it could be worse than the Jets. Probably not a whole lot worse.
No.
The chances are you're not going to end up with a contender.
Yeah, I mean, the landing spot's a complete gamble. Yeah, he has no idea where that's going to be next season. So but yeah, the money question is really all about, will next season go the way he thinks it will, and will he not only get more experience and develop his game, but will he play well enough and be thought of highly enough after next season to still be a number 1 or number 2 pick? And I guess we'll find out.
Right.
So, good luck to him.
I mean, next year's quarterback draft is wide open.
Yeah. Takes guts to go back to school when you got that money staring you in the face. So,
yeah, I think it impacts the Browns as well from the standpoint.
Jeff. Now we'll get back to the coach stuff.
Okay.
Use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've had 5 interviews so far. They got Jesse Minter coming up tomorrow. Or no, they've had 6 interviews so far. Jesse Minter coming up tomorrow, and Udinski coming up on Saturday. So that puts them up to 8. And plus they've requested 2 other interviews with Chris Shula, Nate Shieldhouse. So it puts them up to like 10 candidates. That's including Todd Monken. But I guess a couple things. I mean, there's so much to this. There's and you text me either today or yesterday. You're like, it's kind of interesting, I think, how Browns fans are looking at some of these candidates. They're like, well, we don't want this guy. He's not experienced enough. Well, guess what, guys? You might not have a choice in some of these guys because they might not want to come here.
Right.
Okay. You guys think that we're holding the bag, a bag of cookies and just shaking it, and these guys are all coming running. It's not necessarily the case. There are several open jobs, and the guys who are seen as the bright spots on this list, and we don't know who those guys necessarily are. Guys who look like the top candidates to us may not be the guys who the GMs, who the owners, whatever, see as the top candidates, because we don't know, because the hirings haven't started yet. So, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Grant Udinski, who nobody knew who the guy was 3 days ago. And now all of a sudden, everybody's like, do we want this guy? Do we not want this guy? Gosh, it would be a stretch. Let's hire him a year early. Well, guess what? There might be 5 other teams that are thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
This guy's seen as a star. It's like, gosh, can we take him now? But if we bring him in, he's got to have this and that and the other thing that we got. We can't just let him run things his way yet. Well, in order to get a guy like that, you might have to do things that you're not thinking you have to do for a young coach, just because the guy might have 3 or 4 teams interested in him right now.
Right.
So that's the first thing, and then the whole ideas come in, which, Jeff, you started talking about this, and we've been talking about this, through the season, that, with Stefanski gone and Barry here, this is really a do or die year for Barry. So this coach may be one and done if they bring in a new GM who wants to bring in his own coach.
Possibly. That's right.
So I don't even know what to think with this, honestly. I mean, is there a coach on this list that could come in and, first of all, turn things around enough with one more draft, win enough games, to save Andrew Berry's job and his job, because it almost feels like that's what's going to be necessary. Or is Jimmy Haslam really resetting the clock to the opening of the stadium with whatever coach gets hired now and giving Andrew Berry 2-3 more seasons? That feels kind of hard to believe.
Yeah.
There's
a couple possibilities. One, like you said, this is a do or die year, and whoever Andrew Berry brings in is going to have to win now, because we feel like we need to be performing better based on the talent that we have. And that's what the organization is saying, is that the reason they walked away from Kevin Stefanski is the roster is better than 8 wins over 2 seasons. They have a higher opinion of the roster than everybody else under the sun. But they believe that this roster is better, which would indicate that they want to win right away. So yeah, the pressure would be on the head coach to win games. The pressure would also be on the general manager to give that coach as much talent as possible to try to win games to save his job, right? So
yeah,
from that perspective, Andrew Berry is going to be looking to wheel and deal and pull out all the stops and probably make a few panic moves to try to save his job, right? If that's the case.
Right.
Another possibility is that we walk away from Andrew Berry at the end of this year and give more power to our head coach hire. He can then go find his next GM to support him, would have more say over the roster, would have the ability to potentially go out and remake his coaching staff. But if you look at what the organization is saying today, it's that we want to keep our coordinators. We like Jim Schwartz. We like Tommy Rees, even though our offense was putrid last year. We think Tommy Rees is an up-and-comer. So we want you to come in and work with our 5th-round quarterback and turn him into a starter. And we want you to win 9 or 10 games this year. If I'm interviewing for that job, I'm saying you guys need to get a cold, hard dose of reality. But somebody will take the job.
Somebody will take it. And and I understand the Jim Schwartz, thoughts. I mean, I don't know how anybody can not like what Jim Schwartz has done for the Browns. But if you're remaking the team and you want to get a head coach in here, I think you keep Jim Schwartz if you can. But if you really find your guy and you got to move forward, I don't know. Then they're going to have to make a decision,
Yeah, I guess, what do we think is the right path versus what the Browns are indicating may be two different things.
Well, sure.
I'm pretty sure they are two different things, right?
Yeah.
When I started looking at some of the candidates, I mean, there's a boatload of guys out there. There's a boatload of openings. People are talking to everybody, right? The Titans are talking to everybody. It's a wild shootout this year in terms of who ends up where. And that was before Mike Tomlin stepped away. So it sounds like Mike Tomlin's probably going to take a year off, maybe go to TV, maybe not even coach at all again. I've heard a couple of places that Stefanski might take a year off, which I suggested a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I think, that I thought would be a good idea for him.
Could happen.
Wait for a better opportunity. There's a whole bunch of guys out there, retreads that have coached before. There's a bunch of young guys. The Browns have their list. I have my list. I think first we need to look at what's the organization really offering? What are the restrictions for the job that are being placed on the job that would first of all eliminate certain guys. So this is not a CEO job. So Jim Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Mike McCarthy, those guys aren't coming here because that's just not the type of guy we're looking for, right? If we're keeping Jim Schwartz, that right away, in my mind, eliminates defensive coordinators. I think we have to look for somebody.
An offensive mind. Yeah, I want an offensive guy.
We have to look for somebody, if we're keeping Tommy Rees, that's going to help him to grow and put a productive offense on the field, right? Or are we just going to hire a defensive coordinator and let Tommy Rees continue to run our offense? I don't see that working for us, right? Not if we're under the gun to win. So it's almost got to be somebody on the offensive side of the ball, which eliminates a whole bunch more guys, right? So when you start getting into the weeds of who's left now, there's some experienced guys that have been offensive coordinators for a while. There's some really young guys. In my mind, it's going to boil down to who do the Browns think can get them wins this year and give them upside long term. And man, that's slicing it pretty damn thin in terms of the guys that I think would fit that bill. So you mentioned Grant Udinski. In my mind, Grant Udinski is the hope candidate. If we're doing this whole exercise to inject hope into our organization, into our fan base, that's why we feel like we need a new voice, is because we need more hope for the future. Grant Udinski's the guy. He's going to give everybody tons of hope. Is he ready to be a head coach in the NFL? Probably not. If he was surrounded with really experienced coordinators, and Jim Schwartz fits that bill, I don't think Tommy Rees fits that bill. I think he would probably have a good chance of being successful as a head coach. Yeah. Most people think he's a year or two away from really being the guy. So maybe we just pump the brakes on Grant Udinski a little bit and say, well, when this organization does its inevitable reset, which we think is probably going to happen in a year or two, now Grant Udinski's a great candidate for us. Who gets us there, though?
I think he might have a job by then, though, is the thing. He just seemed, I don't know.
He might, but you know what? I'm not gonna panic because I think I might not get somebody next year or the year after. You just can't run your team that way. I mean, Jimmy Haslam has a history of running his team that way. But if you're asking me what I would do, I don't think he's the guy yet.
Well, I think first of all, Jeff, I'm not going through the interview, so I'm not talking to these guys, but if he just impresses, if he impresses the hell out of you in the interview, with what he says, and you think he's a year away from being a head coach, You know, I don't have a problem with bringing him in a year early. You know,
Mm.
I mean, why not? Why wait a
No.
year? You know,
Because
I don't
I
have a
would I
problem
would
with
say
that.
see the prior examples. Freddie Kitchens, Rob Chudzinski. This organization has a history of taking guys who aren't really ready for that position and then moving on from
Well,
them in a year.
I think it goes back to the expectations. So if you're bringing a guy in and expecting him to win 9 or 10 games, then yeah, you can't hire a guy like that.
No, no, I
Okay,
don't think
if
so.
if you're bringing a guy in and expecting him to take us the Browns to the opening of the dome, and he's got 3, 4, 5 years, then you should be able to bring in a young guy and let him
Mhm.
oversee this rebuild as
Yeah.
it takes the next year or two. You know, as they rebuild the offense and then maybe bring in a new quarterback in 27. You know, that's the kind of guy that could go through that kind of stuff. But yeah, it just depends on
So
what they're
yeah,
really doing.
what qualifies as a quote unquote young guy? For me, it's somebody who has limited to no head coaching experience, but's been in the league for a while, right? That has operated an NFL offense. Um, Udinski barely qualifies for that. I mean, he's been in the league for 6 years and he's operated a couple of offenses. He's never called plays. He gets most of his credit for unlocking Trevor Lawrence, and that's a great thing. But for me, it's just not enough. Um, there's a couple other guys that I think are slightly older that have a bit more of a resume, a little deeper resume. If you're asking me who I'm bringing in for interviews,
Yeah.
there's two guys I'd be interviewing. Cliff Kingsbury, who was the commander of the or OC of the Commanders up until just recently.
Mhm.
Cliff Kingsbury gets a lot of credit for developing quarterbacks, especially
He does. Yeah.
less than franchise quarterbacks. If that's a nice way of saying it, right? Which is kind of where we are.
Right now,
Kingsbury's
yeah.
40. He's 46. He operates a effective but safe run heavy offense, which for me that's what we need. We have a stout defense. We don't need to be chucking the ball down the field 50 times a game. We need to be running the
Yeah.
ball, controlling the clock, getting first downs. Kingsbury's offense since 2019 has been 9th in points per drive and 12th in yards per play in the league. Now it's between Arizona and Washington. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, that's the kind of offense I want to build to complement our potentially championship defense, especially knowing that we may never have a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to that. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the second guy that I would consider is Joe Brady, Bill's offensive coordinator. Now, he's had the benefit of working with Josh Allen, but a similar kind of run heavy / RPO type of an offense. Joe Brady has shown that he can put together an effective offense when you give him the right talent. And if we're going to go out,
that offense is more than just Josh Allen.
Yeah,
No.
but again, not loaded with high draft picks, especially at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about the way they run the football. Yeah.
Yeah. They are committed to the run and they smash you, and that's what I think we need as an organization. Again, just to repeat myself, right? So, for me, those are the two guys that I'd be talking to. The Browns have shown no interest in either one. The third guy that I would consider more of a long shot, Clint Kubiak, the Seahawks OC. Again, you won't be able to talk to him for a few weeks. Um, for me, if you look at his resume and how he operates, he is a slightly younger version of Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
I mean, he has the same sorts of philosophies, right?
Yeah.
He's been great for Sam Darnold and that offense.
Well, and
Would the
Udinski gets some credit for Sam Darnold last year
correct
too.
Yes. Yes.
But I think Kubiak will do a lot of the interview circuit for whatever teams are left when he's available too.
Interestingly, Kubiak has interviews requested from every team but the Browns. So maybe the fact that he's a lot like Stefanski in my mind is not a good thing to this regime.
Yeah. Maybe they want something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah, Jeffrey, just looking real quick. Jeff, would you be okay with signing Romeo Doubs as a free agent? Or Alec Pierce? Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, everybody knows how I felt about Romeo Doubs coming out of the draft.
Yeah,
I don't think he's really lived up to that expectation. I mean, of those four that you've got up there, I think Alec Pierce is the one that I'd be most interested in. Guy that can take the top off of defense and is super reliable. Good route runner. Catches the ball, contested catches. I mean, if you're looking for a veteran to put alongside of whatever rookie you draft, I'd probably go with Alec Pierce. Romeo Doubs may be a little bit more of a project at this point. He's going to have to get kind of put on the right path.
He still does pretty good, but I haven't looked at his stats to know his stats. But I mean, he's had
a few injuries as well. But for me, if I'm gonna splash the wide receiver market and free agency, it would be Pierce.
Yeah, would like to see that. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. We've kind of beat that to death, Jeff. So
the coaching thing. Look, let me just repeat what I said last week. I don't care who they hire. I think whoever they hire probably has the deck stacked against him. And, as a guy who has been set up to fail in the past, I can tell you it's not a fun place to be. And you take a job thinking it's one thing and you find out it's something else. I just hope these guys all do their diligence on this organization and understand what they're getting into, because I don't think there's a great betting odds that whoever they hire is going to be here for very long, just because of the expectations and the realities of where this organization is. To expect a guy to come in and completely fix the organization without having full say in the organization is ludicrous in my mind.
Yeah, just come up and coach the players up and get twice as many wins.
Yeah, we're going to give you these guys here. We're going to bring in a bunch more rookies. We've got 10 draft picks, and we're probably going to bring in a bunch more UDFAs, and we expect you to contend for a playoff spot next year.
Do your thing. Go do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, what are you smoking? Right. Anyway, I thought maybe you'd ask me who I thought they would hire.
Well, I figured it might be a little bit too soon for that, but yeah. Do you have a thought on that already?
I have a thought, not because I think this is a great move, and it's not to disparage the guy. I mean, the guy, he may be a great coach. I don't know. I don't know a lot about him, but just looking at who they've interviewed, and if you ask me today who I think they'll pick, knowing what I know about this organization and the fact that they tend to do the same stupid things over and over, I'm going to go with Dan Pitcher, because God forbid we turn this guy into the next Hugh Jackson. And
I'll be honest with you. I know less about Dan Pitcher than I do about any other guy on this list too.
I mean, ultimately, look, he has history with Andrew Berry. They were scouts together with the Colts. He's the offensive mind. I mean, you could argue anybody could probably run an offense with Joe Burrow and the receivers they have. But if the Browns are looking to do more than just interview a divisional guy, for me it would be the most Browns thing ever to just hire another Bengals OC.
Can't argue that, not at all. I think Jeremy, I don't think it's going to be Mike McCarthy. Just because
Mike McCarthy's not coming here.
I don't even think they'll talk to him. Yeah.
No.
I don't know who it's going to be. I hope it's a young offensive mind that gets an actual chance to develop things, but I don't know if anybody's going to have enough authority to do anything with this team and to get their players and things like that. I mean, they could bring in a Mike McDaniel, but is he going to have a chance to sculpt the team in his image, get the players that he wants to run his offense?
If you're asking me who is at the very bottom of my list, it's Mike McDaniel.
Well,
I don't want to relive the whole guys quitting on plays, guys acting like they don't want to be here, all that crap, and that's what Mike McDaniel brings in my mind. You and I watched the Dolphins this season, and they quit on him, and that was what week was that? Week 7 or 8 or 9?
Yeah. They played again after that, and I'm not saying the only positive thing about him is his offensive abilities and what he's done.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He's an offensive savant. But as far as being a head coach and getting guys to play for him, no.
Yeah.
Just you can miss me on that.
Right. I mean, honestly, the rest of the guys, I think Udinski's going to take a job somewhere, and I don't think he'll pick the Cleveland job. I just think he's going to be the hot commodity. I think enough people are talking about him, Gaga, that he's going to get 3 offers and take the one he wants. Would not surprise me. I have to have people in Cleveland have talked themselves out of him anyways because they don't think he's good enough. So, and these other guys, I mean, I don't know. And we don't have any say-so anyways, Jeff. So
no.
I'm going to live with the decision. I'm going to hope that the guy does well and that the team does better next year. And we'll see what happens.
My concerns about the hire have nothing to do with the guy who eventually gets the job. It has nothing to do with the guy. It has everything to do with this organization's history and what I think they're setting this guy up for.
Yeah. To me, and I know that this ties more into Andrew Berry's job and everything, but to me, this coming draft is so much more important than the coaching hire, because the coaching hire may not last, but but being able to get some players out of this draft to actually build toward 27 and 28 is a lot more important right now.
Yeah. Did I say Mike McCarthy when I meant to say Mike McDaniel? Jeremy's correcting me. So anyway,
no, I knew you were talking about Mike McDaniel.
Mike McCarthy's not coming here. Mike McCarthy is a CEO type head coach. Mike McDaniel will be an OC someplace this year.
More than likely. We'll find out. Yeah, we'll know in about a month.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, Jeff, let's move on. We're going to talk some Browns defense.
Okay.
I just want to talk about the defense as a whole first. Just a few stats. The defense was 4th overall, in yards allowed this year.
Yeah,
which is pretty good for how much they're on the field. 283 yards per game. Third in passing yards, which really isn't surprising. I think the total yards is more impressive than the passing
Yeah.
yards because of being behind in games.
Yeah.
Defensive line was ranked number 1 per PFF. Did you know that the team we know about Miles setting the sack record? Did you know that the team set a sack record this year with 53 sacks?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. They broke apparently their own record of 49 set in 23. I wasn't aware of either of those numbers.
Mm.
Anyways, so
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed it was in 23, but okay.
yeah. So
I mean, they played well in 23 also. They dropped off a little bit last year, but yeah.
Take a guess. You might have the number in front of you, but do you know how many tackles for loss the defense had this season?
That I don't have.
And
I mean, Miles had 38 of them by himself, right?
Miles
33
had 33.
33, yeah.
33, which is second all time.
Yeah.
J.J.
Watt had 38.
Yeah, the team had 117 tackles for loss, which is second all time to the 2007 Pats, who had 118. They missed tying the record by 1.
Wow,
that's really impressive.
It's also indicative, I think, of a defense that was on the field a lot.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So yeah, did you have anything overall defense, or you just want to start going through players?
Yeah, no, just a couple of other stats. I mean, you mentioned third in passing. They were 16th in rushing. I think a lot of that came toward the end of the season when Malik Collins went down. They gave up a lot of running yards late in the season.
They did. Yeah.
Points per game, 14th in the league at 22.3 per game. There's not a huge variance in points per game between the number 1 team and the number 14 team. I think the number 1 team was like 18 something. That was that was the Texans.
And that doesn't take into account field position or anything like that. So
right, yeah. So all in all, a good performance from the defense. I would stop short of great until the last few games, I think. They played, I thought, their best game of the season in the final game against the Bengals. And, I think if we'd have had that kind of dominance from the defense earlier in the season, probably would have won a few more games in spite of our offense. But anyway, just real quick on tackles, Carson Schlesinger, 156 total tackles. Number 2 guy, Devin Bush, with 125. You know who was the third guy?
Well, I've got some of those numbers. So I'm going to guess it was Ronnie Hickman.
Yeah, so I was kind of surprised to see that it was Ronnie Hickman at 103.
Yeah.
Grant Delpit and Myles Garrett rounded out the top 5 with 89 and 60 apiece. So, I mean, a lot of tackles from those 3 guys, Schlesinger, Bush, and Hickman. Tells me that we're pretty solid up the middle. Problem is, Devin Bush probably isn't going to be back unless they just open up Jimmy Haslam's checkbook. So when we look at the greatest area of need for this team in the fall, and I think it's an area that we've had pretty good luck with. It's finding that complementary linebacker to Carson Schlesinger for 26.
Yeah.
So not worried about the safeties. Slightly worried about the cornerbacks, but we'll get to that. The last thing I want to throw out there is interceptions, and this is where I again would like to have seen the team perform better earlier in the season. 11 total interceptions as a team this year.
I'd like to see a little bit more than that. 292
yards on 11 interceptions. Devin Bush had 3 of them for 164 yards. Okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, a linebacker is not supposed to lead your team in picks, but I mean, you take it. But
Schlesinger and Hickman each had 2, and a bunch of guys had 1. So, yeah. creating turnovers. I know it was an emphasis this year for Jim Schwartz, and it really just didn't happen. So for me, if we can
showed up in
maybe
some
plug
games,
one or
not,
two guys in,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if we could plug one or two guys in that are just ball hawks that can help us with creating turnovers, they can coach these guys up a little bit more next year. I think that's where the defense will take the next step.
Yeah, I think you're right. I recall that, Jeremy. Yeah, Jeremy did talk about Ronnie Hickman having last season. So yeah.
Jeremy the prognosticator.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see. Oh, we're talking. We're breaking. I guess you want to go kind of. You want to go with DBs first, Jeff?
Sure.
I mean, we've kind of circled around. I mean, Ronnie Hickman played very well. Obviously, I mean, all these guys played well. You know, I mean, I don't think you can say anybody didn't play well out of this group, really. Some even better than others, but Hickman. I mean, he kind of. I mean, he made a statement that's that's one less position that the Browns need to address. Doesn't mean they won't draft a safety, but it's probably not going to be the guy that Jeremy wants. But Grant Delpit, 3 sacks, a pick, 4 passes defense, 89 tackles. I mean, that's a pretty nice season.
And a Pro Bowler on special teams, by the way.
Yeah. Jeff, a guy that when was the Tyson Campbell trade made? Do you remember? Was that what was the trade deadline? Was he around for about half the season or what?
End of November, yeah, I think something like that.
So yeah, I'm not sure how many.
Or no, it was earlier in November because I was gone in November.
I assume these stats are just Brown stats then, right? 53 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Led the team with 12 passes defensed and a pick.
Yeah.
I mean, what more could you want from a corner than what?
Yeah, no, I agree.
What he gave.
He was an awesome compliment to Denzel Ward, and all you had to do was watch Greg Newsome play for Jacksonville in that playoff game to see it's a stark difference between how those guys play. And I mean, you can fault Andrew Berry for a lot of things, but that trade's not one of them.
No, that trade, it's a great trade.
That was a really good trade, and it solidified for us the number 2 cornerback spot, which was going to be a real big question going into 26 with Newsome and Emerson both free agents after 25. It was going to be a problem, and it might have meant spending big money in free agency. So to be able to address it the way he did and solve it for the next couple seasons at least, you have to give him a lot of credit for that move. And you have to give Tyson Campbell a lot of credit for the way he came in here and played.
Yeah, and if you don't know football, you look at the stats and you say, what is all the fuss about Denzel Ward? He only had 39 tackles and 9 passes defensed and 1 pick the whole year.
It's because the ball was never thrown his way.
They don't throw it at him. Because he always doing is covering the guy to where
other than Aaron Rodgers, the last four plays of the Steelers game, no one challenged him.
Right. So
I think we're in really good shape with our outside corners. I'm a little concerned about the slot. Miles Harden got a baptism by fire this year. With Cam Mitchell sort of flaming out and being released, Miles Harden was thrown in, and hopefully he learned a lot and can elevate next year. But if there's one spot on the defense that I'd really like to see us go find somebody, it's that third corner, that slot corner specifically, and preferably a big slot corner. somebody who can
Yeah.
take away the big slot guys and not get run over, which was a problem for Miles Harden.
Well, I don't know how the cornerback class is, and we don't need to talk about that right now. But
yeah,
if there's a spot that Andrew Berry's good at picking, it's corners. And
well, that's true.
With just having that one area to focus on, hopefully he can find that guy, because he sure brought a lot of guys in this year who could play. Some of those guys, I'm watching games, I'm like, who is that guy out there playing corner? And they were playing well.
The Bengals game was guys that I never heard of.
And they were like, man, they're covering those receivers pretty well.
Yeah.
You're going up against really good receivers, and never heard of these guys, and they were playing good football.
Yeah. So from a defensive back standpoint, if they can find another guy in the slot, if they can add a third safety to replace Rayshon Jenkins, this defense is in really good shape as far as I'm concerned. We already mentioned the fact that we need to find that linebacker, and that assumes again that JOK does not play. But otherwise, this defense is in really good shape.
It is, yeah. Schlesinger and Devin Bush. I can't speak about the linebackers on, a lot of other teams, but I don't know how many other teams have had production out of two linebackers like that. I don't know.
You have to remember where Devin Bush was a couple of years ago.
Oh, I know. There was questions about whether he was going to make the team or not. He was.
Right.
He was. They brought him in on a prove it deal, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly, and then he re-signed this year on another team-friendly deal to motivate him, and then it worked. And you have to wonder, will he continue that?
Maybe he'll have some loyalty and want to sign, a deal that's at least a little team friendly.
I'm worried about the cost, and I'm worried about the potential drop off once he gets that bag. So, for me, I would tip my hat and say thank you very much. Best of luck to you with your big contract, whoever gives it to you, and I'd plug somebody else into that spot.
Yeah. Do we have another year of Jerome Baker or not?
I believe he's a free agent also.
Okay. Diabate is free agent, but
he's restricted, I think.
Is he restricted? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, So Diabate and Winston Reed, a couple of young depth guys that I think I'd like to see back, particularly because of how well they play on special teams.
Right.
Diabate is fine for a few snaps on defense.
He plays well.
I don't want to elevate him to my starter. I want to find another guy that we can replace Devin Bush with. And maybe it's JOK. I don't know. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he'll surprise everybody.
We'll see.
But I'm just not counting on that right now.
Well, I mean, that might be the first indicator, We'll see what happens. See what happens there. The defensive line, I mean, you can find holes with some of these guys, but man, this defensive line just played like crazy.
I've got 8 names here that I think are locks for next year. Obviously Garrett and Wright. I think McGuire and Thomas. I think they like Thomas a lot.
Yeah.
I think your defensive end room is pretty much set. Then tackles, I mean, Malik Collins is under contract next year. Mason Graham obviously is going to be back. Mike Hall is going to be back. And I think they really liked Aiden Huntington, not only for what he did on the defensive line, but how they utilized him in other areas. So for me, you've got 8 guys that are pretty much guaranteed jobs next year on your defensive line. Can you add a veteran or two to that? Maybe a draft pick? Sure. I would continue to be developing guys, But I feel really good about the guys that are going to be taking the bulk of the snaps in the fall.
You have to, because not only Alex Wright coming into a second healthy season, and Miles hopefully still prime Miles, but you got you got Mason Graham and Mike Hall Jr. who are going to have a little bit more experience going in next year. Especially
typically D tackles take at least one season, right, to really get settled in the NFL. And Mike Hall, his rookie season was pretty much a red shirt. So I'm going to say that those two guys will elevate next year, and you'll see bigger stats from them. I think you could make a case that we probably need to backfill somebody behind Malik Collins as a long-term answer, because he's got one more year here. And a younger guy in his mold that we could bring along. I don't think it's Aiden Huntington. He's not big enough. Could you get another year out of Shelby Harris? Yeah. I'd rather give that spot to a young guy that I think will solve that problem more long term.
Yeah, that's rough, because I love Shelby Harris, but I like having him on the team and that. But
yep,
you might be right there. Sometimes you just got to take the next step with the team, and man, it's like you said, there's just guys on that line that they all look like locks,
Yeah.
So for you to bring anybody new in, you gotta somebody's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it tough.
Yeah,
makes it tough. But
I mean, there's probably two spots open, depending on whether they keep 9 or 10 guys.
Yeah. Well, and some of those guys need to be signed. Several of them, right?
Well, look at all those guys are under contract.
Really?
Next year. Yeah, every one of them's under contract next year, I believe.
I thought several of them were not under contract next year.
McGuire is eligible for an extension, but he's under contract through 26.
Okay, right is now. So Shelby Harris is probably the only.
Shelby Harris is the only free agent.
Cam Thomas is under contract, and
Cam Thomas, I believe, and Huntington, it was a UDFA. I think they own their rights.
Okay.
For the next several years.
Well, that makes that part pretty easy. I mean, we know the draft is going to be mostly about offense, anyways, even though they're sitting on 10 picks.
Which is kind of unfortunate, because where we're sitting in the draft, there's going to be some really exciting defensive ends that would be it would be really nice to add one of those guys, but I don't know what you do with them.
I know.
Unless you're planning to slot him in 27 after you move on from McGuire, the guy's really just not going to get a lot of snaps.
Yeah.
That's hard to justify with the 6th pick in the draft.
Yeah. Well,
if they were inclined to go that way.
Right. Well, we've got a lot of draft talk coming. That's going to be fun.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Long way to go on that.
Definitely. So, we'll dig a little bit deeper on all this stuff as far as the contracts and not contracts. I know that information's all out there, and I know you did your research, Jeff, but we'll definitely be looking at the exact number of openings and things like that for all these guys. But I think we pretty well covered the defense, so we'll talk about the lesser half on next week, the offense. We thought we'd do the fun part this show. We'll talk about offensive performances, which at least there were some pluses. We got a few good guys to talk about.
There were a couple of guys that had outstanding rookie years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. So we'll do that on next week.
Yeah. Defense was, it was as solid as we expected it to be going into this year. That's the takeaway, is that the defense performed like we wanted them to. And could we have squeezed a little bit more out of them here and there? Probably. But a lot of that was due to the fact that our offense was just historically bad for the second year in a row.
Yeah, Jeff, but to be able to sit here and do a podcast talking about the defense, and to really not be able to just pick anybody out and say, this guy just didn't have a very good season. How often is that going to happen? On one side of the ball or the other, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
No.
And
there were guys that had bonehead plays here and there, and messed up here and there. But overall, the play was just so good from the defense.
Yeah.
It's really hard to criticize.
Well, look, Rod, there's been a long-term plan on defense. From the time that Myles Garrett was drafted in 2017, there's been a plan to build the defense around him. And if you look at the assets that have gone into the defense since Andrew Berry became general manager, that is where 70 to 80% of the team's focus has been throughout the last 6 years, has been building that defense. Yeah. Draft picks have all gone on, high draft picks have all gone on defense. Extensions have all been spent with a couple of exceptions on defense.
Right.
It's been about building the defense. And then fortunately 3 seasons ago, they found the right coordinator with the right system that just seemed to fit all the pieces that we had. So it kind of coalesced in 2023 into what we've seen, a consistently dominant defense that can at times dictate a game.
Yeah.
And like we've been saying, if you just have an average offense, you've been harping on this for weeks. Just an average offense gives you a chance to win.
Just a few points, just a couple touchdowns, or
yeah.
I mean, in most games, if the offense can score a couple touchdowns and just get some field possession, it's going to be enough.
You're giving up 22 points a game. You're scoring 14.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
not going to cut it.
In a nutshell, that's the problem. Yeah, and it's just because we have not made the same kind of commitment to the offensive side of the ball that we've made to the defensive side of the ball. You can't just be that one-sided as an organization. You can't say, okay, I'm going to put all my assets in one basket, and then I think I'm going to fix it by going out and spending $230 million on a quarterback. We've just neglected the offense for way too long, and we'll go over that next week.
Yeah. So thanks everybody. This has been the fun show. Next week we're going to get down. It's not going to be quite as fun. No, we got some fun guys to talk about next week too, and I'm sure we'll have some updates on the coaching stuff, and we'll find a guest for next week too. So
sounds good.
So Jeff, you have any closing thoughts tonight?
No, that's it. Just can't wait to tear apart the offense.
Yeah, we will. That will do. That will do. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Be sure to check out all the other podcasts on the Fanatical Elves Network, and have a great week. And we will catch you next time on the Browns Blitz. Take care and have a good night.